It's very bad and getting worse. Several years ago, back in the 90s, when the Congress granted most favored nation trading status to China, a lot of members said, well, this will change China. They will become like us. They will be open. Well, the Chinese people are wonderful people. I have a lot of good friends in China. But it hasn't changed the Chinese government. President Xi, the Catholic Church, have you been following what they did to Cardinal Zen? A 90-year-old cardinal? Do you realize how difficult it is to be in jail at 90 years old if they send him to jail? Hong Kong, I watched the transfer when Chris Patton transferred that over to China. It was supposed to be free. Hong Kong, Joshua Lee and all them in prison. And so the Uyghurs, there's genocide against the Uyghur Muslims. Terrible, terrible. You have cultural genocide against Tibet. I slipped into Tibet in the 90s. What's taking place? Been 100 and some more Tibetan monks. They pour kerosene on their bodies. They light it up to self-immolate, to protest. The Protestant church, you find hundreds of Protestant pastors in jail. So it's very, very grim. And for instance, on the Uyghur issue, it actually is genocide. Now, the word genocide is a very powerful word. Sometimes it's thrown around too much, but this is actually genocide. And you have companies like Hikvision that have cameras in the camps, and yet Hikvision has Washington lobbyists. I mean, nobody in this town ought to lobby for China, a country that's may invade Taiwan, persecuting the Catholic Church, shutting down freedom in Hong Kong, arresting Protestant pastors, culture genocide against Tibetans, and actual real genocide against the Muslim Uyghurs. So I think it's very, very grim, very, very bleak. So hopefully the Congress will wake up. I think the new Congress has a new commission, a new chairman for the China issue. Mr. McCall, who's the new chairman of the House Foreign Relations, is very good. So I'm hopeful that they'll begin to kind of focus, but we no longer can allow it because things are getting worse and worse and worse for the people of China. Well, you know, you never say never, but I doubt it. But you know, things can change quickly. I remember in 1985, I went to Romania, where it was very dark in Romania. Ceausescu was a very evil person. And in 1989, Romania fell. And I believe that you could see a change because as I talk to people from China who come over here and I talk to, they don't like what's going on. They're afraid. Did you see the last party conference about a month and a half ago when the former president of China was ushered out? Did you see it? So I think it could change. I think it could change. But I'm worried if you saw the latest report by the 4-star general that says that China may invade Taiwan in 2025. So, but I think the Congress has to stand up and the administration has to stand up. They have to do a better job than they've done. And lastly, they ought to ban no Washington law firm or lobby firm ought to represent China. There should be a total ban. Can you imagine a law firm during the Reagan administration representing the Soviet Union? No. So no one ought to represent China.